Excited for this tax? Who's excited to tax everybody? Yeah! Let's get this tax going. Come on, I'm excited, guys. Let's get the tax going. Yeah, let's get the tax going.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'll go ahead and get started that way. You all are working to get the town hall schedule up on here, so I'll just get started. Thank all of you for coming today. This feels like I have been started to, and ready and started to deliver this information because what I'm about to talk to you all about, I've been talking about for over a year. And I think what I want to do is begin by sharing that I have a great team in this city, but more importantly, there is a great team of people who were here before I stepped in as mayor, who work every day, and not for the money, obviously, to make this city run well. And I think that what is really, really important to what I have tried to do, and people who have come on board with me, is to give people who work for the city of Pine Bluff everything they need to be effective at their jobs, to make it easy and efficient to do business in the city of Pine Bluff, to be protected in terms of our public safety entities and the men and women who work for the departments, police and fire, and also for the many other departments and even the commissions who provide services to make life better in Pine Bluff. And so I want to start by talking about how as soon as we were sworn in and got on board, we worked really hard to reach out to residents in Pine Bluff and ask them to tell us what we can do and how we can do it. And we asked people from all over the city, and even some from outside. Some who said, well, I live in the county. They served too. And we created the following committees to work together to tell us what we needed to do in the way of recommendations. And those committees were Budget and Finance, Economic Development and Infrastructure, Education and Workforce, Faith and Community Engagement, Government Transformation, Public Safety, Senior Outreach and Advocacy, Social Impact and Sustainability, Tourism and Nature, and Youth Investment. And if I think, does anybody have a book?
Here's one right here.
Yeah, thank you. And everybody on those committees worked really hard. They held meetings, they did surveys, they did focus groups and town halls, and did it in like what, 2 or 3 weeks? And then worked on a body of recommendations. And as you will see, this is semi-thick. Some had recommendations that spanned several pages, some was just 1 page. And what I wanted to do is, and we'll have these copies here before you leave, is to outline what those recommendations were, and just to give you an idea of what we've been doing, just highlight in red the things that we've done or the things that are really for real in progress. And the point here is that we've been working. We've not only been working in the area of, our own agenda, the things that I promised, the things that I ran on. We've also been working on the things that the people said they wanted to see. And the main point that I want to start with in highlighting that is we are a city of residents, men and women, personnel, public servants, who are working to get the job done, who are working to do what we say we're going to do. And I think that's really important to start with, to lead into what I'm going to end with. The second thing that we wanted to highlight in this press conference, and one of the things that the Budget and Finance Committee talked about or discovered in their work, is that a lot of people don't know where our revenue comes from. A lot of people don't know what our departments do, how many departments we have, what our expenses are, what our revenues are. And so, and more importantly, what our debt looks like, what our budget looks like. And so, as we continue to talk to the people, we will be sharing that information as a part of a conversation about what a sales and use tax would look like and what it would do. But I will just highlight a few things, and before you all leave, we will have information that I share with you. And this is information I shared when I did my State of the City address. And I think this was the first time, I heard this was the first time it had ever been done. I don't know. But, you know, I didn't feel like I could talk about the state of the city and not talk about what our revenues are and where it comes from and what we're spending and why we're spending it. So I want to first start with our revenues. A lion's share of the money that is generated so that the city can operate comes from sales tax. Now, a lot of times when we see 8, 9, 10% of any city, the city doesn't get that. 6.5 of that goes to the state, a percentage goes to the county, and then a percentage goes to the city. Now, a lot of people say, oh, we're one of the highest taxed cities, and we're not. We're kind of in the middle. And what I did was a sort of frequently asked questions sheet, and that's one of the things that I put on there so that people can kind of know where we are. So let me share with you that out of 357 cities assessing and collecting sales taxes in the state of Arkansas, Pine Bluff ranks 205th. And we are, many of you already know, we are the 10th largest city. Out of all 10 of the 10 largest cities, we actually rank number 3 as having the lowest sales tax. So we are not the heaviest tax for sure. I think it's important to note that in addition to the sales tax, we generate about 2% of our revenues from federal government, grants, federal funding, licenses and fees. We get about 12%. Money from the state of Arkansas through grants and state funding, 11%. Property taxes, 8%. There's a small percentage in your property taxes you pay that goes to the city. Franchise fees. So franchise fees, when you see on your bills for your electricity bill, for your cell phone bill, and from the trash collection, it'll be a small franchise fee percentage, and then we get 7% of our revenue from those fees. And then miscellaneous other partnerships, foundation grants, and the like. That's about 4%. And then we're getting about 11% of our revenue from the casino. And that seems really, really big, and it is significant. From Saracen right now, so far this year, we have generated, with 1 month to go, $5.4 million. And it did not start out that way. We have been receiving revenue from Saracen since 2019. In 2019, we collected $119,048.86. In 2020, it went up to a little over $1 million. In 2021, $3.6 million. 2022, $4.1 million. 2023, $4.8 million. And 2024, $5.1 million. And that is a lot of money. In that time, though, we have continued to lose about 1,000 people a year. So therefore, our tax base has been shrinking. And, you know, thank God for the grants that we've been able to write, for the federal funding that we've received and other sources. But when our tax base shrinks, our sales tax shrinks. The fees we generate shrink. And while a lot of people would like to believe that people are running away from Pine Bluff, that is absolutely not what's happening. We have some people moving out because they're going to college, and many of them won't come back. We have people who leave for a new and better job. We also have people who move here, but there's no net positive for the outflow and the inflow of people. The reason that we're seeing such steep declines in our population is because of what happens in every city. People die. People die. And when you look around at housing, as people pass away and their children or grandchildren have moved to other areas to start businesses or to go to school or to get a better job, that house then becomes what? It becomes vacant. And in the situation around air property, if you don't have people who are managing it, who see the benefit, who have the time, the know-how, or whatever, or a situation where that family has to make repairs to that house before they can rent it out, keep up with the insurance, usually, and y'all know what I'm talking about, it's only about 1 or 2 people who will do that and pay the taxes. Or if the house goes into disrepair and you fall behind on property taxes, now that becomes an abandoned house. And that's just due to the natural attrition of people living their lives and passing away, and there not being a slew of new people to take their place, like what happens in other growing cities, like what we see in Northwest Arkansas. But it was the growth and people, the influx of people, the influx of business, and the influx of private investment that caused that area to grow. And same thing with West Little Rock. And I make that point to say, if we could rely just on private investment, we would not need to have a conversation about the sales and use tax the way that we have to have a conversation today. So the other thing I will point out about our budget is that since 2023, the budget, we have had a deficit in our budget. In 2023, the deficit was about $200,000. 2024 budget, which would have been passed by the mayor and the city council in 2023, that budget deficit grew $2 million. And we have about a $2 million deficit in the 2025 budget, which was passed last year. Now, the good news is because over the years we had the COVID money, the federal money, and because we budget pretty conservatively, and because we had many positions in the police department that were not filled, we always had a significant carryover to rely on. So we have always been operating on a balanced budget, but when you are comparing revenue to expense, there's still a deficit. So later on, you can take your carryover, which may be several $1 million. We're balanced and we're okay. The point here is we're okay, but we don't have extra to do extra with. And as we continue to see the continuing declines in our population, and therefore in our budget, we need to be mindful of the fact that we don't have to do something different. We just are. Just like in your household. As the cost of everything goes up, as the repairs you might need to make go up, but let's say you retire and your retirement income is not as much as what your highest income was. Or let's say you lose your job and you're getting unemployment instead of your income. Or let's say your income stays the same, but your expenses grow. If you want to keep up and you want to do some extra stuff, you want to go on vacation, you want to fix up your bathrooms and your kitchen, what do you have to do? You're going to have to get another job or find a side hustle. Got to and cut expenses. That's right. That's right. And trust me, we're doing that. We're doing that because we don't want to go into another budget cycle with a $2 million deficit and rely on carryover. We can't rely on carryover the way we have in the past because one of the things that everybody was clear about in the recommendations, in the conversations, and that I was clear about coming into this office is we were going to do something to improve public safety. We cannot improve public safety if we don't recruit new officers. We can't ready ourselves to make sure that we have an effective and accommodate these officers with equipment, with vehicles. So it's not just the salary of an officer. It's the salary, it's the fringe, it's the equipment, it's the and vehicles. But we will definitely go into another budget year with a thinner carryover. Now, as we are looking